Okay, so it's M.W. Smith here again. So check this out, right? I went through the book of Judges for the first time. Read through the whole entire book. So now from I know it's out of order, but at least from the book of Exodus to Judges now, I've been through every last page and chapter, every verse, every word. Doesn't mean I know it. Doesn't mean I know it well. I'm now familiar with the context. Um, and it's something I never did before as a Christian. Never took the time, never cared, but now I do it a lot. So just because I want to know what's in those books, I want to know what's been kept from us. But I guess so. This is kind of a recap of the Book of Judges for me. Ah, as I'm going through the book, I cannot believe some of the things I found that are right there in the book that we hardly ever really dig into or talk about. And when I say like we, I'm talking about we like to look into Exodus, we like to talk about Deuteronomy, we like to talk about the book of Isaiah, but some of these other books are subpar, to say the least. But I found interesting is that the tribe of Benjamin um, really became a wicked tribe to some degree, so much that the rest of Israel was righteous compared to them, the other 11 tribes, and they actually had to nearly annihilate the whole entire tribe down to about 30 men that were left, and they were only left because they were chased into the mountains, pursued, and all their cities were burned down. And eventually, they were given rest, and Israel, the of the 11 tribes, came together and said that they would not give any of their daughters to Benjamin to wife. So the wives that were then of Benjamin, I need to look into who they were, if they were Moab's descendants, but they were not Israel. Israel's Israel said, no, we're not going to give you none of our daughters to wife, especially after what they did to can't remember the gentleman's name, the one Israelite that was passing through their land, and they tried to murder him when he was in Jerusalem, and he gave his prostitute over to him, and they gang raped her until she could no longer take it. And in the morning, she went back to her man's house and dropped dead on his doorstep. And just reading that stuff, and it's just like, wow, reading about Gideon. See, as a kid, as a child, I'm sorry, not kid. Kids are goats. As a child, correction. As a child growing up, you have these little Old Testament Bible stories, King David and, David and Goliath and Adam and Eve and Noah's Ark and so on and so forth. But one of the ones that I liked was Gideon. And I don't know, his story was different, and it didn't seem like everybody else was always jumping to the story of Gideon and what he did. So I'm like, yeah, that's the guy I like, because everybody likes King David and the fact that he killed Goliath and all that stuff, and Daniel in the lion's den. So I'm like, just the way I was always different. Sometimes people said it was because I was sticking my nose up in the air, but it's just I didn't want to be a follower to a certain degree. So I finally got to read all of what he did, and something interesting was that that as he went to war with his enemies, he pursued them and killed them and asked for the jewelry from them and the gold off of them and their camels. And I swear to you, the very next day, I am watching a YouTube video, and it's talking about bearded animals, the top 25, and it brings up the camel and how this camel is supposed to be related to camels from North America, but the camels in North America can no longer be found. And it took me back to the book of Judges, where Gideon and his men wiped out his enemies and their camels and slaughtered them all. And it's like, that's why you can't find them anymore. He annihilated them. These camels that were indigenous to North America, he annihilated them. So, just stuff we can tie together, you know. Um, yeah, I learned about Gideon and his sons and how he made a son with a woman. He made 7 sons if I remember correctly, and his last one was actually with a woman that was not of Israel. Um, they said it was not of Israel in some verses, and other verses they said she was the stranger. And just using the other references throughout the Bible, whenever they talk about the stranger, like in Jeremiah, the stranger is not Israel. It is somebody that's sojourning with you, but they're not of you. They're allowed to participate, in the sacrifices to the Creator and worshiping the Creator, but they are not Israel. See, but he makes a mixed child, and his brothers chased him off. Said, "Hey, you're not going to get a part of any of our father's inheritance," and he ran him off. Well, later on, Israel calls him and asks for his help to lead them against the remainder of his brothers. And man, he did something that really broke my heart. Man, he made a covenant with the Creator and said, if you allow me to overtake my enemies, whatever comes out of my house to greet me when I get home, I will offer it up to you as a sacrifice. Well, his daughter, his only begotten daughter, comes to him after he overcomes his enemies. And just, my God. Yeah. The book of Judges, man, it's loaded. If you get a chance, take some time, read it. You're going to see all kinds of things that we just didn't know that was there. Anyways, if anyone has anything to say, if anyone's read something in there that was important that that I might have missed. Oh, speaking of that, I even read the verse where it talked about Jerusalem was conquered. Israel went in there and took Jerusalem away from its inhabitants, and it made me think about Horace Butler in his book When the Rocks Cry Out, when he talked about what was it, the Egyptians had Israel, the city of Jerusalem, and that King David and the boys took it from him or something to that effect. So I just thought that was interesting too. That and it was the city was spelled was it Jebus? I think it's Jebus. Arthur Scott and I actually went over that verse and went over a lot of the stuff in the book of Judges together. Just talked about it. So I just thought that was interesting. And if you get a chance, get a hold of him. This guy's got a really good head on his shoulders, and he's got a lot of information that can help out. He's a good person to talk to because he knows his stuff. So. But yeah, anyways, this is just M.W. Smith, and I'm out. To the Most High, higher, higher.